What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video on Car Talks 100. Wanted to again thank people that have been subscribing, that have been engaging, and those that have stumbled upon but haven't subscribed. Please do subscribe so I can bring more content from various dealerships and or different brands. Helps the channel grow, helps our forum grow, and we're here to talk about cars, have fun with it. So let's continue with the fun. Going back to what are we looking at? We're looking at the Acura MDX Technology Package year 2024. Special thanks and shout out to McGrath Acura of Westmont here in Chicagoland area. If you're in the market for an Acura or any other car that is in the same price point segment, please come check these guys out off of Ogden. They will hook you up. Let me know if you do plan to make a visit. I'll let you know what person to come see and he will be sure to help you. Going back to the car. Now this car has a direct competitor from Lexus after many years of not directly having a competitor from its biggest rival, which is Lexus. So this one would compare with the Lexus TX350. However, starting price of the MDX will still be cheaper because the front rear-wheel drive version starts at around $49,000, and then for the TX it starts at around $55,000. So you have something to go off of. This one is equipped with super handling, so that starts at around $51,000 or so, just a tick under $52,000. This one, being the technology package, is one of the most commonly sold package in the lineup of the MDX, which goes like MDX as one of the package, which is the base, then technology, then A spec, and then you have the advanced, which stickers in at the very top of that. You can spec this car in multiple ways. You can also go all the way up to speccing it out as a Type S or Type S Advanced. So starting price somewhere around $49,000, taking it all the way up to somewhere in the $70,000 range. But this one, sticker somewhere around. We'll talk about the sticker. To the front, this MDX has gotten longer, bigger. I think if we're talking about the size, give or take, it does share the same size as the TX, or if we've seen something already, would be Grand Highlander, I'd say. You're also looking at this if you are looking at the Infiniti QX60. Some people like to put it in the same lineup as the Audi Q7, though I don't really put the German luxury brand in the same, or German cars really in the same segment as the Acura and Lexus. They just have their own thing going on, and German is fun times two. But hey, if we're taking the dollar amount and comparing, then maybe sure, you can. We'll do a 360, then we'll come back to the front. This particular paint is Fathom Blue paint, so I don't know how it's appearing right now under the sun. It could look very dark black, very dark blue, but it's the Fathom Blue, which isn't too many out on the lot, so I saw this one and I wanted to do a review of this particular one. But you have other paint choices that you can go for. The MDX has gotten longer from its previous generations of like 2022 or 2020 or 21, but this one here, I do like the styling of this. This does look like a sport SUV. It does accommodate bigger families, but we'll talk about that as we get inside. But let's look at the front and see what do we get. We'll start from what's under the hood. This particular one is a 3.5 liter non-turbo 10-speed automatic transmission, putting at around 290 horsepower there. You can go with a turbo engine on this, which is going to be a 3.0 liter 10-speed automatic that puts out somewhere around 355 horsepower. But I think for most families, you'd be okay with the regular 3.5 liter because you're not really buying this to be powerful on the road. This still does feel very nice, and when I was driving it, it does feel nimble, so handling is really nice too. Up front, what are we looking at? Traditional Acura styling right now as we are looking. You've got the full LED headlights. The indicators are at the bottom as opposed to being the top of the headlight. Advanced package does give you parking sensors, does not give you fog lights, and it has these fake functional vents. So no functional vents anywhere up front on the sides, but you do have this for your bottom, and then you have the typical diamond grille that is functional here but blocked up here, and they're not active shutters, and then your very big Acura emblem that does house the Acura sensing in there. For comparison, I do have a 2020 MDX parked here in the parking lot, which we'll show after the review is coming to an end. But what are we looking at when it comes to the wheel size here? So this particular one, we're again looking at the shark gray with some brushed aluminum and some brushed black there. So aluminum and black is mixed here. The tire itself is going to be 255/50 R 20-inch, so these are 20-inch alloys. You do have nice cladding up here to take the beating, otherwise everything else is premium looking on the side. You have the aluminum strip running there, not molding, but you could call it a molding, which also does kind of match with what's going on here on the side into this mirror. These are power folding mirrors too. Integrated turn signals, I do wish that they just ran across because this almost is pointless, to be honest. You have chrome on this car still, and it wraps around in quite a few places. So you could see that there is around the windowsills, and you also see it somewhere around the front fender, edging into the side mirrors, and then the bottom. Overall, the styling, this is a family SUV, so it will have some of the mixture of premium and sport, and sadly, premium, I think, is still denoted by having lots of chrome on the car. So there's that capless fuel insertion there. The back, I do like the styling of the back. It's minimal, it's sporty, there's nice curves. I do like how it looks in the back. Top mounted brake light, your windshield, your rear shield wiper there, full LED headlights, Acura emblem here, same as you know, all the other Acuras. It's not smaller like Honda. Your one touch up for that, it's an automatic trunk, is down here. Your parking, excuse me, not your parking. Your backup camera along with the washer fluid is also there. And then you have the MDX badging and the super handling all-wheel drive badging. Coming down below, you have parking sensors, then a matte fake diffuser-like single exhaust on both sides. Exhaust is actually inside of the housing there. I do like how it does the housing. I know a lot of people don't like fake exhaust, but hey, I think it adds to the character of the car. But do let me know what you think. I do think it's a handsome looking back. If we go in to the trunk from here, the trunk you can also operate from the key fob or right from there. It is an auto up. You can set the height. You can also have the have it be closed from there. With all seats up, you have about 18 cubic feet of storage. My filming bag is there. Not exactly the best visualization there, but you can kind of see the space. It does have false floors, so if you lift this, you can basically put this down and it flattens everything up there. The car does have a spare tire, which is obviously traditional and under the body there. All seats up, like I said, 18 cubic feet. All seats down gives you about 91 or so, somewhere under 95 cubic feet of space. These seats can fold down, but they don't fold down from a button. You have to pull this down and fold it that way. I have it up because I do plan on climbing in, because this might be someone's car that has kids that need to go in the back, because it really is only for kids to go in the back. Anyhow, closing this up, we're going to start with the front of the car, and then we'll make our way to the back. Keyless entry, I'll show you the fob. It looks very similar to how almost all Acura products have. It's like this. Acura emblem sits here. I said that in my Integra video. Here, all are functional, so when you do want to open the trunk, it will electronically open up. As we go inside, it does have all 4 doors as your keyless to the door panel. I do like how this looks. This door panel does look premium. It feels good when you shut it. Injection molded plastic here. Leather, leatherette, vegan leather. I don't think this one has Milano. Milano comes up when you go to the highest spec, which is the Type S of the MDX. Stickering somewhere around 75K there. So, but this still looks very premium, feels nice, and is a solid car. What do we get here? Something that I absolutely love. Power folding mirrors in the Acura. Everything else is very similar. Design is how, you know, Honda products are the way this appears, but this is nice and leather. All one touch down. The rear windows go all the way down, so that'd be nice for kids. This does have 3-person memory seats, so that's a nice thing there. Otherwise, this is also equipped with the ELS audio system, so that's a cool feature. This one being technology, you don't get any sportiness in your footwell there, so standard. You get both sides as power seats with the lumbar here. 4-way is for the driver. As we climb inside, but before we do, you can take a look at the cabin. It does feel premium and does feel nice, very grand in terms of the illusion that it has for what it looks like. So we'll go ahead and start the car up. It does have tilt and telescopic, both electronic, so that's a good thing there. The MDX's gauge cluster is rather crisper in comparison because I think it has to do with the kind of glass they may be using up here for the speedometer. But overall, it's the same idea as to what you can bring here versus not. The car is 10-speed automatic, so there's not much to mention there when it comes to, you know, different modes. But you do have paddle shifters in the car. You do have mode selector that you can select, which we'll get to when I get to the center console. Going from left to right, you've got a couple of options here to choose from. I do really like how the Acura sensing is sitting with just a matter of a button for the 360 and parking sensors. That is a nice feature as opposed to you having to go into the infotainment to turn that off. Down below, you have your parking brake here. It's positioned here, but obviously it's still electronic. Nothing else to mention. The material does feel nice. Does not feel like you're sitting inside of a Pilot or anything because it's now it's very different than the Pilot, at least from how it is in terms of the feel and the look. So you can call them same cars side by side. It might share other things with it because Pilot has 3.5 liter engine as well, which is also 10-speed automatic. I didn't really see if the current generation of Pilot is sharing the same, but I think Pilot is riding on a complete new platform for itself for this current year, and it's all kind of changed with how their engines used to be. Anyhow, going back to the MDX, typical wiper stock and your indicator, it does have rain sensing wipers, front only, not the back. Here, typical, you've got the audio control, your sensing sits here, no flat bottom, no badging of any kind. This is a tech pack, not a spec. Acura still on the 24 models and 23 models, be it TLX or be it the MDX, it still doesn't have the touchscreen, which I think is okay because their trackpad is very touch sensitive in a good way. So it moves super fast, which is a really nice thing, but it does need some getting used to, especially when we're so used to touching everything. Though it's not that far of a reach, but I can see why, because of the position, it's probably easier to use that. However, as we come down, we'll talk about what's going on at the very bottom there too. But if we're looking at the controls here, the screen, actually, let's go back to the screen. So yeah, it does have your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto Wireless. It does have, you know, a Sirius XM, things like that. It does have the navigation system built in. So pretty useful as far as what the functionality it offers, and pretty standard there. Coming down here, there is usage of piano black, so that's there. You will need to keep a cloth, especially if this is a car with kids in them. You would have to clean them because fingerprints and or other things will show up here. This is electronic, so there's a haptic feedback. Go down for lowering it, go up for make the temperature go higher. I don't know how I feel about it. It looks cool. I don't know how practical this is. It seems to work fine, so we'll leave it at that. The car does have heated and ventilated seats there. Everything else is button here, so no manual dials. Here is your driving mode selector that you could do, so it switches between, you know, you could see different modes. So snow, comfort, normal, and we'll go back to normal. So that's there. I do like how it's placed, but I think one would have a volume knob be placed there and volume knob be switched to having the dynamic here, but we'll talk about what Acura has thought when it gave you all these configurations here. You do have the start stop when it comes to auto, and then underneath that you have the brake hold. Here is your power. You have one USB-A, one USB-C, one USB-A, and then it hides, so I do like that. Your typical shifter here for the buttons there. Don't like it, but you get used to it, because I don't mind this for one very reason for Acura, which is you have something to rest your palm at, which is basically given to you. If I go like this, it is given to you, so when you're working the trackpad, you can rest your palm here, so which is kind of nice and thoughtful. But at the same time, this is just one too many things to control something that could be a touch screen. But I guess they are still trying to engineer that for themselves in future cars. Wireless charging pad, similar to how Honda is, but the placement is just different, so it still is something that, you know, isn't all that practical when it comes to how it holds the phone, but hey, it's there. You have this little cubby here. You could probably put your key fob. It's felt down below, but the walls are still plastic, so it will rattle, so you might as well keep it in your pocket or something. This is the trackpad. As I said, you could go to the shortcuts real quick from here, and the volume button is here because they've given the multimedia control here. So what they've done is volume here and the mode selector of the car here. This could have been switched, but I see why this is not switched, so kind of understand that. Here are your round cup holders. They are nice and big. Both, this one is rather small in comparison to the big one. You could probably see it in the visuals there too, but it's there. It is fine. It's practical. The door sills are over there when it comes to what you're going to put, so it's rather down below, but you have at least good amount of cup holders there. They're shallow, the ones on the door, so you probably will be using this. Something cool about this, or uncool, is you can open this in two ways. So if you open the first way, it's a push and up, which reveals these two things, like a pen holder, and then these are felt, so that's nice. And then when you go here, you can lift this up for your bigger console, and you do have a 12-volt and a USB-A there. Other than that, nothing to mention here in the middle. Seats are nice in quality and in comfort. They're not Milano leather, but they are leather of what you go with, or what this offers. One interesting thing I found, which is hardly ever in any car, or correct me if I'm wrong, the driver and passenger both has 3-person memory seats. So I don't know what's the use of having a passenger with 3-person memory seat, but I guess, you know, one is for maybe your spouse, and another for one kid, and another for one kid, or however you want to do it. But hey, this car offers you 3-person memory seats for both driver and passenger in the front. If we go up top to the roof, what are we looking at? We have your glass holder, but no privacy glass. Oh, no spying on kids from here. And then you have your sunroof controls, and then Acura does give you the home link there, which is nice. You have the panoramic roof, so it goes like this. The bottom one, or excuse me, the last one doesn't open, but, and this is also funny because it stops, and then you got to keep pushing it up. So it's one touch open to an extent, and one touch close all the way, which is nice. The rear one does not open or close, but it's there, and then you have the shade that you can bring on, which is one touch. My assumption, it's going to stop here, and then you continue to bring on if need to be. Actually, it doesn't stop. Nice. Okay, so we'll leave it open so we can climb into the back and talk about what the back space looks like. Overall, I do like the interior. I do like the quality of the interior. It does feel nice and luxurious when it comes to the price point of this car. As we climb out of the front into the back, like I said, it does have your keyless entry, the back door panels. Standard to the front, does have, you know, the same elements, and it does have manual shades. So if, let's say, there's infants and stuff in the back, you can have the shade be put up. This is where it kind of shares something piloty and reminds you of Pilot, the way you would get into the back seat with these buttons, and how it just basically pops out, and then not pops out, but like pulls out and then kind of just falls over, and then you can go into the back. But before we do that, this is configured in a bench seat here, but the cool thing about this is you can make it into a 7 by completely taking away the middle seat, and or, actually that becomes a 6, and or you can just fold it down like so, and it reveals the cup holders that are resting in the back of this. So I just did that, so now it's a 2 front, 2 back, and then 2 in the very back as far as the configuration goes. So if you have 2 kids, you'll probably keep it like this, but it gives you cup holders there and like a little tray table-ish, and then you have that. So if we climb into the back, what are we looking at? It gets tight unless you recline the seat, because the seats were upright. So if I go back here and just sit the way, it's decent. You folks know that when we get into SUVs of this kind, that it's not super spacious. A minivan is still super spacious for that matter, but as far as power and air is concerned, you have the 3rd zone climate control there for the rear passengers. Here are the vents for it. You do get 2 USB-A's, no C's, and then you do also have a 12-volt socket there. Boat seats give you map pockets, but they are one of those airplane-like map pockets. So I sometimes like them, but sometimes I don't, because they're just too rigid to open up. Overall, the seat comfort is fairly decent in the back as well. Obviously, the front and back doesn't have the same bolsters, but it does have comfortable seating position and how it sits. Isofix covers for your car seats are dead easy to get to, otherwise nothing else to mention in the back. You do have the roof that extends there, so it's nice for kids to look at the airplanes as they're riding or being driven. If we go into the back seat, so to go in, you just simply push. This is dead easy to go. The seat folds and moves forward. But if we try to go in, and folks, it's kind of difficult when you're the only cameraman and also the person recording. So I've gotten into the back seat, and if I bring this all the way back and kind of so being at 5'9", my knees are rubbing, but it's not the most uncomfortable position. Yes, there is a lot of room between the thigh and the seat bottom, and then the seat does meet the floor real quick, but you could see that, you know, it's there, it's decent. You can, at my height, I wouldn't mind riding for maybe like 40 minutes of a drive or something like that, but that would be the extent of it. You can't really fit 3 people across. You can only fit 2 for the most part. Kids, it's fine. Adults, I would kind of suggest or advise against it. A little quarter window. There is absolutely no power or air here in the back. No top vents, no side vents. You only have a small little cup holder, which is very, very shallow. So nothing to mention or worth back here for adults, but kids, as they grow up, they might be okay in coming into the back. Otherwise, this is just a tight, cramped space, which is very typical for most of the cars in this segment. To get out of the back, just simply hit this. It goes, which is nice. There's no grab handle here, so we'll just go out like so. Bear with me, and now we're out. We'll put the seat back up. This was basically, getting in and out is not that bad, but then again, as an adult, you wouldn't really want to sit. I have basically taken a ride in a Toyota Highlander, a 2022 one, in the back for maybe 30 minutes. It's very cramped there, so it's not the best. I do also like, let's talk about this. They've got Acura, I don't know if you folks can see it, but it's got Acura embossed inside of the headlights. As we wrap around the interview, let's talk, the review. Let's talk about the sticker price of this car. This one stickers in at $56,750. Mind you, this one has the super handling package on it, and then the destination charge. No other packages on the car, so it stickers in somewhere around $57,945 plus your state tax, plus title fee, all that stuff that you want. This one has the Advantage package from McGrath, so it has this too. So, you know, every dealer has their own thing that they've got going on. So make sure you do your due diligence and shop around, and don't overpay for anything that does not need an overpayment. Overall, what's the final verdict on this car, really? Well, I've always liked the MDXs, no matter what generation they've been in or what kind of shape, just because I like this car in general. If you are looking at the MDX, like I said, you should be looking at the Lexus TX350. You should also kind of go into Infiniti and explore their QX60. Though I'm not a huge fan of Infiniti, I used to have, one of my first cars were actually Infiniti i35 2003 model year. Beautiful car, but Infinitis are just, with Nissan, not a huge fan. But hey, that's my opinion. I'm, just one out of a billion people. So do your research accordingly and then explore those options. And if you want to also compare German rivals, go look at them too, but also make sure you compare the cost of ownership, you compare the maintenance, and then you make your decision, because you're probably buying this car because you have a family. So look what you want to get yourself into and then make that decision. As we close this review off, here is the previous generation MDX, and they're actually both at the technology package. So it does look very much different from the current generation, because this was more beefy. It was rather small in comparison. So it wasn't exactly where this MDX looks like, but this was the past generation that succeeded the one we just finished the review of. So it looks very much different, but I still like this. So if, let's say, you want to go for a used one, there's plenty available almost everywhere, I'd say. So here's that one, and then here's this one. Shares somewhat similarity, but this one's gotten just a lot more muscular and a lot more, sleeker too at that. But overall, they're solid cars, they're reliable cars. You can enter the luxury segment, be it on their compact side or be it in the bigger lineup side, but just know that at the moment, Acura is really only offering 4 cars, which is your Integra, which is actually parked right behind it. Then you have the TLX, which is actually that silver one. Then you have the RDX, which I don't see right now in the lot. and then you have the MDX. So there's not much to choose from. You just really have all sizes available here with a bunch of different trim levels with the Acura lineup. But Acura has gone through a complete revamp to be able to compete with the current market of all other brands that are offering so many options, so many cars. But you do know that this is going to be a reliable luxury car, SUV, sedan, whichever option you go with for these. So do come check out Acuras if you are in the market for a car and you have a budget of somewhere between, let's say $40,000 going all the way up to 60. You can probably find something to like here and then be able to compare it with whatever else you're looking for. Again, thank you very much for watching. I will continue to bring more reviews. There is a lot more improvement that needs to be done, so I'll continue working on that, but I do need your support and your appreciation and your subscription so we can continue growing and I can continue bringing more brands and more reviews. Appreciate all of you watching. Everybody, take care and have a great rest of your weekend, week, whenever you end up watching this.